I am Lynda Erickson. I am the first commissioner in my district to serve a second term in 22 years, which tells you that Mason County has a rich tradition of throwing the bums out about every 4 years. And, you know, I can kind of understand that. The reality of county government has been very difficult the last few years. I'm going to actually ask Patty, I was going to originally talk about sort of the county, and it belongs to you, and kind of what the assets are. But I think that maybe rather than doing that with the short time we have tonight, I'm going to ask Patty if I can write an article for the newsletter and talk a little bit more, you know, how much are the buildings worth, how much are the vehicles worth, how much is that great big pile of gravel we have out there worth. Because it's probably not very interesting as a speech, and I think we can make it maybe a little bit more interesting as a news article, and then maybe have a discussion about it later. But I do want to talk a little bit tonight about the fact that I think that Mason County is not only in good shape, I think it is a good place to be. We ended the year of our last day of business. Last year we had $5.2 million in our cash carryover. We have since paid off the what we call the 13th months, which is the bills that are coming in that are the result of activities of the past year. And so we're at about $4.7 million, which for a county of our size is a relatively good financial position. We have a cash reserve policy of $2.1 to $2.8 million, and obviously we're ahead of that at this point. And moving into the next year, we've been very conservative about our budgeting. We are not anticipating an increase in sales tax, although it looks at this point like there may be some modest increase. And it also appears that there may be some increase in our timber taxes. Property taxes are and have remained relatively stable. So we're kind of a two-legged stool from our economic output to begin with, but one leg is fairly stable and the other isn't looking as bad as maybe it did. But actually, building on Patty's theme about the end of the rainbow, or where the end of the rainbow really is, I kind of think it is in Mason County. And just for a few examples, I would talk about our business community. I don't know any place else in the world that my husband and I could live, and we could call up the local hardware store and describe a lawnmower that my husband wants, and an hour later, we don't even have to drive into town. An hour later, it's arriving on a truck on a Sunday afternoon in the summer. Nor hearing Carolyn describe her customers in her bookstore and why you could buy a book for less someplace else, but they come to her bookstore and they carry their books around and love them dearly. And when she describes those people, she has tears in her eyes. And that's the kind of place that I want to live. Any place else in the world, I would not expect to get credit on my income tax return from my account for the fact that I took some cookies by in June. But I receive a cookie credit on my tax statement. And I cannot imagine expecting those things. But they're part of the fabric of the community that we live in. Wandering by, giving Bob a bad time about something that he's raising money for. I mean, we have so many things that go on in this community that bind us together and make us feel good about being here. And I'm incredibly proud to serve as a county commissioner. I mean, it is by far the biggest honor I will ever have. And it bothers me on some very deep levels when people go, oh yeah, you know, Mason County or Shelton, and kind of roll their eyes, because, and some of you have heard me talk about this before, but when somebody says, I'm from Mercer Island, their tone, their posture, the way they stand means something. And I gotta tell you, I've worked on Mercer Island. We got more waterfront, our air's cleaner, this is a better place to live. And by the way, you can't get much done about banking is about all you can do on Mercer Island. You can't have the kind of relationships that we have with our local businesses. So if somebody tells you that it's a whole lot cooler to live in Mercer Island than it is to live here, I beg to differ. And I would hope, as a business community and as a community of people who care about ourselves, that we start to talk about what is so good about this place. Now, granted, we never know what I'm going to say when I start talking, so you may have to shut me up or get the hook or something. But I really passionately believe that the most important thing is we can look around and talk about who we are and what we do well. And there is so much in this community that is going well. Many other communities didn't understand what was happening in the economy in 2008 and maybe deferred taking some action. This community actually understood. We've been through some tough times in the last 25, 30 years, and you know what? We understood and we knew what to do, and we weren't overspending to begin with. And guess what? When there are other counties that can't pay back loans, we're a county that came in at the end of the year at $5.2 million to the good. Every business that I visit here, and oh, by the way, we forgot to introduce Melody Peterson. She's our new assessor, by the way. I saw her over there. I said, we got she is certainly part of what's positive. We've got an assessor that's downstairs now, that's wanting to work with the commissioners, that has a positive attitude, that cares about what people think, that cares about getting the information out. I think you have a group of elected officials that frankly do care about that. Some days we do it better than others, and we can all improve. But you know what? I cannot imagine living any place in the world that is as nice as here. And I hope that all of you will consider joining me in, when I say I'm from Mason County or I'm from Shelton, you know, doggone it, very little of what you say is the words you choose. It's your posture and your tone. And I hope you will all join me in communicating to everybody you talk to what a great place this is. I want to do what I can to support our businesses. You can't have good government without businesses. I figured that out a long time ago, long before I was a commissioner. And so we're a partnership. And the county does belong to you. But we also are we're just people, and we're part of the community. And I hope that we will all work together to think and talk about how we can communicate to the world what a really great place this is. So, thank you. I think that's my 5 minutes. I'll shut up now.